Blue Jays have the best winning percentage in the month of May. In yesterday's ball game, it just took 3 guys, but they were big hits. Watch where the pitches are from the Baltimore pitchers up in the strike zone, and when the Blue Jay batters get their pitch, they haven't missed them.
For the first time in franchise history, 6 players have at least multi-homer games before June 1st. That is a franchise record.
And when you can hit home runs, you're never out of ball games. This home run by Vernon Wells late in the game broke it open, and then this one here from Lyle Ogilvie, his second of the game, was the big blow, I thought. Good to see the big first baseman starting to hit home runs. And what does home runs mean? I think they mean wins. When you get pitching, timely hitting, and you hit home runs, your record is going to be very good. Blue Jays, since April the 29th, have been averaging about 6 runs a game. You're going to have a great record when you do that.
50 home runs in the month of May. We asked hitting coach Dwayne Murphy about that statistic.
You know, I just want these guys to hit, drive in runs, score runs, and win ball games. To me, it's not that big a deal about the home runs. The only thing the home runs are doing is putting runs on the board. So that's how I look at it.
21 first pitch home runs. You're obviously trying to implement a plan of being aggressive and disciplined at the same time. How are you feeling about the progress your hitters have made in that department?
That department I feel good about is looking for a pitch they want to hit and be ready to hit it. And if they get it, let it go. And they've done well through that. And
lastly, are there any concerns at all about on-base and average? Those are kind of some old statistics, but they're down a little bit, even though this team's scoring a lot of runs. Do you concern yourself with that at all?
No, I just think that's an overrated stat, really. You can be on base a whole bunch of times and just have a slow guy and just back the base pads up. I never have really believed in that, and the average is average. I'd rather a guy be productive, RBIs, home runs, than care about an average. So I like the way the team's going. I like the way the team's hitting.
The Blue Jays looking for the sweep. They will turn to Ricky Romero to get it done. He's been great at home. We'll see if that continues here today.
Brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware or home hardware building center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Welcome inside the Rogers Center. In for Buck Martinez, I'm Sam Cosentino with Pat Tabler here this afternoon. The Orioles and the Blue Jays get set for the final game of a 3-game series. The Blue Jays having taken the first 2 games. Celebrating Memorial Day in the United States, both teams will wear commemorative caps here today. The Blue Jays will, in fact, wear those caps 3 times this year. So the starting lineup for the Baltimore Orioles, as you get a look at Baltimore's commemorative caps, looks like this. Corey Patterson back into the lineup and playing left field. Julio Lugo plays second and bats second. Nick Markakis familiar in his 3 spot. Ty Wigginton makes his second start hitting cleanup. Miguel Tejada hits 5th. And Luke Scott will be the DH this afternoon. Jones, Wieters, and Asturis round out the bottom third of the lineup for David Tremblay. And that lineup will be opposed on the mound by none other than Ricky Romero, who has been sensational at home for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, he certainly has. He takes the mound for the Jays in search of his first win in 3 starts. Ricky is coming off a rough outing against the Angels when he lasted 5 1/3 innings. Gave up 7 runs, 11 hits. That's both of those tying career highs in both of those categories. For his career, he is 0-2 with an ERA up over 5 in 4 starts versus Baltimore. Given up 5 home runs in 26 innings pitched against the Orioles. The 5 home runs are the most allowed versus any club. Jays have lost all 4 starts that Romero has made against Baltimore, so time to change that this afternoon. Scouting report for Romero. He's got lively stuff. Fastball, curve, slider, cutter. And he's got a great changeup. And he's got to get the Oriole hitters to swing at that changeup like they did yesterday against Brett Cecil. And when you do that, the K's are starting to pile up. He's now second in the American League in strikeouts with 72 behind Jared Weaver. Get him to swing at that changeup and you'll get the strikeouts. Defensively for the Blue Jays, Lewis Wells and Bautista will be in the outfield. The infield has played good defense in this whole series. Today's battery is Romero being caught by John Buck, who was off yesterday. And Lyle Overbay in yesterday's game hit a couple of home runs, but I thought he made some great plays also, saving some errors from his infielders, digging balls out of the dirt and leaving the bag, making some good catches, playing some good first base.
So important for Cito Gaston to keep Overbay in the lineup because of that defense and because of an inexperienced pitching staff. So he's felt the best way to combat that is moving to 7th in the lineup. Corey Patterson back in the lineup this afternoon for David Tremblay. First pitch from Ricky Romero is a strike. And that has been a theme of consistency for Blue Jays hitters over the course of this series. The first pitch strike. We saw Brett Cecil do it to the tone of 23 out of 28 batters he faced yesterday. First pitch strikes. And anytime you work ahead in the count, your chances of succeeding in that at bat for a pitcher are exponentially better. Ball fouled back just to our left here in the broadcast booth, and Romero moves to 1-2 against Patterson. Plenty of familiarity there with Corey Patterson, having been with Baltimore on a couple of occasions, going back to his Cubs days when Andy McPhail was working with the Cubs. This one fouled just past Overbay.
Well, they needed some speed also with Brian Roberts out of the lineup with the problems that he has had. They needed to sign someone and get him in the top of that lineup to give them a little bit of a speed threat. Patterson looks like a different player than the one we saw a few years ago.
This one hit to the right side, and Patterson kicks things off with a base hit for the O's. Patterson also picked up in the absence of Felix Pie, who we saw at the start of the year, who was just starting to get on a bit of a roll before he was injured. One of a long number of players, a long list of a number of players that are injured for Baltimore. So with Patterson aboard on the leadoff single, Julio Lugo steps in, and I think Lyle Overbay has signaled timeout. I think he wants the glasses. Quite a glare out there. He does have glasses on, but we'll see what kind of change he's going to make here.
I think it's his glove. In between the innings when he was throwing the balls around to the infielders, he might have broken one of the seams on his glove. So you have a gamer glove. You also have the backup glove. Right now he is getting someone to run into his locker to get that backup first baseman's glove.
And Jeff Ross or Kevin Malloy, the equipment managers, will go right away to work on repairing the game glove, if you will. So the glasses are on, the new glove is in place, and Overbay's trotting back out to his spot at first base. And now we get set to see Julio Lugo. Patterson with his lead, and a little delay throws Ricky Romero off just a touch. Lugo looks at ball one, and a good look there at the backup glove for Lyle Overbay. Overbay will hold Patterson on at first base. Romero with a peek, and Patterson's off. He's got him picked off. But no, it's called a balk instead. And so Romero, it looked to me as if he was coming home, and pretty obvious to me that it was a balk. And indeed, that was the call made by first base umpire Marvin Hudson.
All over it, no argument from Romero, no argument from Cito Gaston or Lyle Overbay. Take a look for yourself. Didn't look like he really made an attempt to throw to first base.
And that's the move you so often see left-handers do. But once you get beyond that 45-degree angle, it's considered deceiving the runner. And at that point, it's called the balk. And so second base now for Patterson, and Lugo with a chance to get the O's on the board here early. The 1-0 pitch misses high. So a bit of a curious start here for Ricky Romero.
Yeah, 2 strikes on Patterson, tries to put him away, hangs the ball. He is on first base with a base hit, and then the balk in the second base. Sending is setting up nicely for the Orioles. They need to take advantage of it, though.
Slap to the right side and foul. And when you look at this pitching staff, Pat, I think the thing that comes to mind, and Lyle Overbay said it to Brett Cecil yesterday after he had given up those 2 runs in the 6th inning, he said that he didn't see any panic in the face of Brett Cecil. And I think you're starting to see that trait come out in Ricky Romero, where he doesn't get rattled with base runners on, and if the opposition happens to score a run, he just puts it away and comes back out the next inning. Patterson bouncing at second base. Now Lugo drops down the bunt. Romero off to field it, and a good throw down to first, but Lugo gets the job done in advancing Patterson to third base with less than 2 out.
Well, what you have to do as a pitcher is think your way through the lineup. Limit the damage. Think about what you're going to do. Next pitch, look, see who's on deck, what you're going to do to navigate yourself through tough situations. Blue Jays this inning are going to play back with a good RBI man and Nick Markakis at the plate. They will concede the run at Patterson and just limit the damage and keep the base runners off the bases.
Runs have been tough to come by for Baltimore against the Blue Jays. The last 4 games having put up just 4 runs, dating back to that series April 9th to 11th in Baltimore. Buck wants to check down to third base with Jim Wolf, but he says no, indeed, Markakis did not swing. We saw a first pitch strike to Patterson, and first pitch balls to both Lugo and Markakis. Infield back, Markakis into left field. This will drop in front of Fred Lewis. Patterson will score, and the Orioles are on the board here in the first inning.
It's a good way to start off your day against a tough left-hander if you're Nick Markakis. Hit a runner to third base, less than 2 outs. The infield plays back. You're just concentrating on that baseball. Markakis picks up this single to left field, and he's off to a good start. He has hit left-handers so well this year, Nick Markakis, up over 380.
Base hit, a balk, a bunt, and an RBI single, and Baltimore leads at 1-0 as Ty Wigginton looks at ball 1 from Romero, hitting .287 this season.
At this point, Dave Tremblay, the manager of the Baltimore Orioles, just looking for any way to score. Orioles come into this game second from the bottom in the American League in runs scored.
Hit back up the middle. Gonzalez, Hill, over to first. Plenty of time to complete the double play. So Ricky Romero does give up 1 run, but he gets out of the inning with a double play. The Blue Jays will hit for the first time this afternoon. Next. League East, and here's how Cito Gaston will throw his lineup out there today. Lewis, Hill, Lynn, Wells, Bautista, and Gonzalez, the top 6. Overbay in the 7th spot. A slight change with Buck and Encarnacion as Buck draws back into the lineup. Bautista, over his last 18 games, 9 home runs, 19 driven in. And Fred Lewis, first pitch swinging. This one will drop into the corner. Lewis will make the turn and glide into second base. And again, aggressively after the first pitch, Lewis has himself a leadoff double.
Started yesterday's ball game against Chris Tillman with a first pitch double over the head of Adam Jones to get it going for the Blue Jays in the first. Today, not wasting any time again. Fastball away, and that aggressive approach that Dwayne Murphy was talking about in the pregame pays off again as he rattles one into the corner for extra bases.
Lewis has led off each of the 3 games in this series with at least a single. So a base hit, and the Blue Jays will try and counter quickly. Fans calling for a balk after we saw one from Romero in the first inning, but clearly not the case as Guthrie steps back onto the rubber to face Aaron Hill. Hill has homered in consecutive games for the Blue Jays.
Orioles have been just a tonic for Aaron Hill and the struggles that he has had at the plate. 14 home games now versus Baltimore. Aaron Hill has 5 home runs and 11 RBIs.
And some will say it dates back to Friday afternoon, an early batting practice session with Dwayne Murphy and Cito Gaston, and Hill lifts this ball to the right side. Wigginton wants to give it chase, but he's lost it. Won't matter as it's about 8 rows up into the seats. And at that point, Bruce Walton was employed as the batting practice pitcher as you look at Jeremy Guthrie's numbers.
There are the numbers for Jeremy Guthrie. He really struggled at the start of the season, going 0-4 with an ERA of about 5.
So again, the Blue Jays' first pitch swinging as Hill fouls that ball back. Lewis on at second base. Hill to left field. This ball's got a little length to it. Right back to the track is Patterson, and up against the wall, he makes the catch.
Well, he gave it a ride, but he just missed it. Didn't get all of it. And on a hot day, ball probably carried a little bit further than you would think. Scouting report for Jeremy Guthrie. He's got a very strong 2-seam fastball, forwarding action in on right-handers, and that's why they're hitting a .175, an electric breaking ball, and he's the command king. Jeremy Guthrie's just given up 13 base on balls in 64 and a third innings. That's in the top 5 for the fewest walks per 9 inning in the American League. Another reason why I think that matches up well for the Blue Jays, because he's going to be around the plate. Blue Jays are an aggressive team. They don't sit back very often and watch pitches. They are aggressive.
Guthrie led the American League with 35 home runs given up last year in a forgettable 2009, in which he also led the American League with 17 losses. He has seemingly turned that around. The number's good for Guthrie this year.
Yeah, well, he struggled at the start, like we were saying, 0-4 with an ERA about 5, but he's been great in his last 4 starts, going undefeated. 3-0 with an ERA right at 2, so something that the Orioles desperately need.
Adam Lynn looks at a strike from Guthrie. Lynn yesterday went into the game 0 for 11, punched out in his first at bat, then grounded out to short before breaking an 0 for 13 in the 6th inning with a base hit to right field. Lynn swings on this ball to left field. It's popped up to Patterson, and Lewis once again will have to stay put at second base.
Very bright sky this afternoon, so anticipate anything out there this afternoon. Defensively for the Orioles, it's a good throwing outfield in Patterson, Jones, and Markakis. Around the infield, Tejada, Asturias, Lugo, and Wigginton, the same infield we saw yesterday. Matt Wieters back in there after a day off yesterday. And you want to talk about people who can throw people out. Nick Markakis has 30 outfield assists over the last 2 seasons, which is pretty good. Tough to run on Markakis.
Lewis still on at second base as Vernon Wells steps in for the first time this afternoon. Wells, another productive day at the plate yesterday, hitting his 13th home run of the season. And what a blast it was in the 8th inning. 0-1 to Wells, and that misses away.
13 home runs in 50 games this year for Vernon Wells. Last year, he hit his 15 in 158 games. So, much different type of player, and the production is there.
Good pitch from Guthrie to find the strike zone. And he's got Wells behind 1-2. Fred Lewis led it off with a double in the first pitch he saw down the left field line. Both Aaron Hill and Adam Lind flew out to left. And now Wells will try and cash him in with 2 outs. And we take you back to that shot yesterday. 8th inning. Perkin on the mound, and this was a shot. A hanging breaking ball that Vernon Wells pelted out to left field, reaching the level of excellence. This time he drives the ball into the left center field gap. Fred Lewis will score easily. Wells on his way to second base, and he will pull up there with an RBI double. A 2-out run to tie the game for Vernon Wells.
He'll plug that gap in left center field and change places with Fred Lewis. Shortens up his swing when he gets to 2 strikes and really covers all of the plate. High fives all around for Fred Lewis. Watch how short this swing is from Wells, and this ball is shot out of a can into the gap in left center field. Hits that turf, rolls to the wall, and he can coast into second base with a double with his 36th RBI.
And now it's up to Jose Bautista to keep the train moving. Bautista's 15 home runs continues to lead the American League. Hack straight back, and a good one there.
Says he doesn't try and hit home runs. That's just a product of a good swing. Timing mechanism is so important for him, and he uses that with that high leg kick. If you get the bat out in front and hit it out in front with good timing, good things are going to happen.
1-1 to Bautista, misses low and away. The 15 home runs leading all of Major League Baseball, and I think this is a perfect situation for Bautista to be in. This is a hitting coach in Dwayne Murphy and Cito Gaston as the manager that really want you to be aggressive, and he has always been an aggressive swinger, Bautista. I think these 2 systems match very well.
Yeah, it certainly does, and it started last year. Getting a chance to work with Gene Tennis, who was here as a hitting coach, and Dwayne Murphy and Cito Gaston. Bautista said in his playing days with the Pittsburgh Pirates, he was always late and always had one of those emergency hacks.
Inside to Bautista, and Pat, surely playing time inconsistently would have something to do with that.
Yeah, that's part of it, but if you produce, you're going to play. And before he got here and got the chance to play, he really didn't produce like he is now.
And Bautista will draw the walk, so Guthrie very much aware of what Bautista has done this year, and with 2 outs, the inning continues to roll on for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Certainly from a pitcher like Guthrie, who doesn't issue a whole lot of walks, just 13 of them coming into this ball game, but he pitched very carefully to the slugger, and he'll take his chances against Alex Gonzalez.
Guthrie's been so tough on right-handed hitters. Just 8 of 54 for right-handed hitters off Guthrie coming into this game, and we've already seen Vernon Wells clutch up from the right side to drive in the Blue Jays' first run, and then Bautista with a walk. First and second for Alex Gonzalez. And again, the 1-0 misses low and away. Just a beautiful afternoon here at the Rogers Center. The sun pouring in, except for a small space in center field. But other than that, you couldn't ask for a better day for baseball. Gonzalez awaiting the 2-0. And this one will drop into left field. Vernon Wells will make the turn. He will score. And aggressively going to third is Bautista on a good turn by Gonzalez at first base. So an RBI single gives the Blue Jays a 2-1 lead.
When you are aggressive at the plate and you have your hitting thoughts on, it doesn't matter what the count is, what the score is, what the situation. You're ready to see the baseball and attack it. Alex Gonzalez has done that this year. Runners in scoring position and 2 outs. He's hitting over 300. Closes up and softly hits that ball into left field, but that's a product of being aggressive and being ready to hit with runners on.
And now time for the 7-hole hitter in Lyle Overbay. Gonzalez on at first, Bautista on at third. Overbay first pitch swinging past the diving Wigginton into right field. Bautista comes in to score. And over to third goes Gonzalez, and the Blue Jays have a 2-out rally going against Jeremy Guthrie.
Lyle Overbay slowly is coming out of it. Aggressive early in the count, getting his pitch and not fouling it off. Now hitting it and hitting it with authority. As Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach, comes out to try and soothe his starter. First pitch swinging, it looked like he tried to get Overbay to roll over on it, but he waited just a little bit longer and punches it under the glove of Wigginton, the first baseman, into right field for an RBI single.
Coming into the start, Guthrie had allowed just 5 first-inning runs through his 8 starts, and that was a bit of a problem for him going back to 2009 when he allowed 29 first-inning runs. The Blue Jays have reversed that trend and gone back to the 2009 numbers, having put up a 3 spot here on Guthrie in the bottom of the first inning. Buck awaits the first pitch and watches it in there for a strike. Runners remain on at the corners. It's Gonzalez at third, Overbay at first. And Buck hitting .267 with his 8 home runs and 26 RBI has been extremely productive. Amongst the top 5 in all of Major League Baseball as far as catcher production is concerned. But he's behind 0-2 here. The 0-2 pitch misses just away. Good eye by Buck.
Yeah, watch the catcher, Matt Wieters. He sets up outside, then just a little bit more, then just a little bit more, trying to get that pitch on the outer half for his starter. There it is.
So he gets Buck looking. Strike 3, but not before the Blue Jays strike 3 times. Toronto leads it 3-1 as we move to the top of the 7th.
Owners helping homeowners.
Top of the 2nd inning here at the Rogers Center. Filling in for Buck Martinez, I'm Sam Cosentino. Pat Tabler with me here in the booth. And if you missed the first inning, you missed a lot of action already. The Blue Jays fell behind 1-0 After a Corey Patterson leadoff single, he was driven in by Nick Markakis, and then the Blue Jays countered with 3 as Tejada hits this on the ground to shortstop. 1 down.
It's got to feel good for Ricky Romero when you give up a run in the first inning. Your offense picks you right up, gives you 3, and now you can be in attack mode now. Get out there and just aggressively go after these Baltimore Oriole hitters.
Romero's last start on Tuesday at home, as Luke Scott steps in. Friends and family counting almost 200 people in attendance to watch that start, and that's always a tough thing to have to face. You get home, you have the demands of tickets, you want to see family and friends, you want to concentrate on your job as well, and Romero struggled in that start, gave up 5 runs over the first 2 innings. Ended up going 5 1/3. Had to grind out those 5 1/3, but gave up 7 earned runs.
And I like what he said after that ball game, that he knew he didn't have his best stuff, but he had to get deep into the game to help the bullpen. Didn't want to wear out the bullpen and bring in 3 or 4 pitchers to finish out that game. Pitched into the 6th inning.
0-2 on Luke Scott. 1 down here in the top of the 2nd inning. And Romero misses in the breaking ball up. And I think it's safe to say that Romero now has the confidence of Cito Gaston. And that's a big thing for a young pitcher to know, that when you go out there, you don't have to look behind and see if the bullpen's warming up, that you know what your job is. Makes it a lot easier to execute. The 1-2. Hit to right field, way up in the air. Bautista a few steps back to his left, uses the glove to shield the sun and makes the catch.
Every fly ball will be an adventure early in this ball game because of that high sky. There are no clouds to give you depth perception when the ball goes up into that blue sky. Bautista shielding his eyes. He's got the sunglasses. You want to get on the side of the baseball. Does a good job as that ball lands into his glove for the 2nd out. That's what he gets to look up to try and find a white baseball. It's a very helpless feeling when you look up there and you just lose it.
Happened to you before?
Oh, yeah. Many times.
Adam Jones is the 7-hole hitter for David Tremblay. He looks at ball 1 from Romero. Jones had a 13-game hit streak snapped in game 1 of this series. Good-looking young player.
This field was very notorious for the glare that used to come off the old AstroTurf back in the day. We were playing day games here at first base and couldn't even see the throws from the infielders because it was so bright here. A day just like today.
Pounded into the ground. Encarnacion jumps and fires a bullet across the diamond to get Jones. So Ricky Romero goes 3 up, 3 down. 590. Let us know in 250 words or less how important a role your dad has played in your life and what he means to you. Prizes include an opportunity to attend batting practice, a pregame barbecue lunch, and tickets to the Sunday, June 20th game versus the Giants, including a meet and greet with John McDonald himself. To enter, visit BlueJays.com/Father's Day. Bottom of the second inning for 9-hole hitter Edwin Encarnacion, and Guthrie starts him off with a strike. Encarnacion hit in the 8-hole yesterday with Jose Molina drawing into the lineup. He was 0 for 2 with a pair of walks.
I thought that Encarnacion had a couple of good at-bats yesterday, but just couldn't reach the ball squarely. That if he did, he would have come up with a couple of home runs.
This one hit up the middle. Isturis on the run and makes a beautiful throw over to Wigginton at first base to retire Encarnacion.
So it's good to see the timing for Edwin Encarnacion coming along for him, because I think he can produce. We saw what he did in that Arizona series. It's fantastic.
Got off to a late start in spring training because of the injury, then was in fact placed on the DL. Encarnacion, and now starting to find his stroke again as Fred Lewis steps in for the second time in the game, and again he goes after the first pitch. Lewis doubled to left and scored in the first inning. What an addition this guy has been to the Blue Jays lineup, and all at a pretty good cost to Toronto.
Literally,
extremely
right?
Efficient. Yes.
Was that 75 grand or something like that?
Yep.
That's all it was.
I mean, in baseball terms, that's nothing. So Lewis back at it again. Line shot to center. Jones in quickly and picks it up off the turf. So he got a bit of a late break on it, did Jones, but he recovered with that great speed and fluidity and takes a hit away from Fred Lewis.
Well, the ball's hit so hard it carried all the way out to Adam Jones. He reads it, and then at the last second it starts to dive, but those great reactions and instincts pulls it off the carpet. I think from that reaction there, he can say he really didn't pick it up, but he looked good to me.
So smooth out there is Adam Jones, a fixture in center field for many years to come here for the Baltimore Orioles. Aaron Hill flew out to left field in his first at bat. Guthrie working quickly now, but he's fallen behind Hill. Homered in back-to-back games has Aaron Hill, and hoping that that power stroke comes back to life, and seemingly it is. 3-0 pitch runs in on Hill, and he draws the walk.
How about that for respect for Aaron Hill? 2 outs, nobody on. 2-0 breaking ball to Hill, and he's got the discipline to lay off of it. And now Adam Ling gets the hit with a runner on base.
We touched on it yesterday. Pitchers really adjusting to Lind, and Lind in the process of readjusting to those adjustments. First pitch swinging. Left field, Patterson a few steps back and in front of the track makes the catch. A quick work by Guthrie here in inning number 2. Blue Jays lead at 3-1. TD Canada Trust Comfort Zone Blue Jay fans and friends, courtesy of TD Canada Trust. And if you can find a way to scam those tickets, they are pretty comfortable. Pat, we've had the opportunity to sit down there a couple of games over the last years.
Bring your baseball glove or a big net,
better
one
be
or the
ready,
other, because you are awfully close.
Matt Wieters leads things off for the Orioles here in the top of the third inning. Romero deals a strike. Wieters hitting .255 with the 4 home runs and 16 driven in. But most of his development has been experienced behind the plate, where he's really starting to get a feel for this young staff.
Yeah, he knows that he's had some struggles offensively with just 4 home runs and 16 RBIs, but he takes a lot of pride in what he does behind the plate defensively, catching this young pitching staff for the Baltimore Orioles. It's been exactly a year that he has been in the big leagues. He was called up last May the 29th and got it in his first big league game against the Detroit Tigers a year ago today.
So the year has gone by in a flash, according to Wieters. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
First strikeout of the afternoon for Ricky Romero. He comes into this game second in the AL in strikeouts with 72 behind the Angels' Jared Weaver. This is just a good, well-placed pitch on the outer half that Wieters has no chance as he swings through it.
Now to the bottom of the order first, Cesar Asturis. Ball 1 to the Orioles shortstop. A modest 3-game hit streak for Asturis. And Romero misses away, 2-0. Blue Jays up 3-1 here in the top of the third. Wieters struck out to lead things off for Baltimore, and Asturis ahead in the count, 3-0. Twenty-ninth pitch of the game for Ricky Romero, misses, and a 4-pitch walk issued to Asturis.
After looking so good against Wieters, going right after him and striking him out, a 4-pitch walk is not what Cito Gaston wanted to see against the number 9 hitter. But Romero's command has been a lot better this year than what we saw last year. He's averaging about 15 pitches per inning, which is very good. Last year was up around 17 or 18.
A check over to first. We saw Romero balk in the first inning with Patterson on at first base. A little more direct line to first base that time.
Yeah, he steps towards first base a lot better that time. When you throw over to first base, it's a good idea for a left-hander just to follow that throw and show the umpire that you are going over there.
Patterson swings through the first pitch he sees. We'll take a long look down at Juan Samuel at third base for a couple of signs. He's got Asturis on at first.
Not really the ideal guy you want to have hitting and running, Corey Patterson. He swings through too many pitches.
Didn't swing at that one, and it was a strike from Romero. Well, the one advantage Romero does have, he keeps the ball on the ground, so the double play always a factor when Ricky Romero's on the hill. Asturis on the way. Again, Romero throws over to first to Overbay, and Gonzalez applies the tag. So again, a more direct line. Ricky Romero learning from the balk in the first inning. Picks off Asturis.
Yeah, I don't know, being down by 2 runs, where you're going to go and an 0-2 count on the leadoff hitter. You've just drawn a 4-pitch walk. Maybe he got caught out there napping a little bit. He's taking off, but Romero sniffs it out, and the Blue Jays wipe that base runner off the base.
Oh, so key. And even inside the course of a game, you have the opportunity to learn. And Romero learned from the balk in the first inning. He threw twice over to check on Asturis, and the second one worked to perfection. 0-2, 2 out for Corey Pettersson. Swings half-heartedly through it. Buck applies the tag, and Romero gets out of the inning. Blue Jays will bat next. Welcome back to the Rogers Center. The Blue Jays lead at 3-1 over Baltimore. Vernon Wells up for the second time in this game. Doubled home a run in his first at bat, and this one hit well to left center field. And back to get it is Adam Jones. Great running play by Adam Jones as he tracks down a good line shot from Wells, and Jones takes another hit away.
Reminds you a lot of Torrey Hunter in center field or Eric Davis back in the day with the Reds. This ball off the end of the bat a little bit by Vernon Wells. Didn't get all of it, but Adam Jones yelling, I got it, runs this one down right in front of that auxiliary scoreboard. Takes away extra bases from Vernon Wells. Nice play.
I think a pretty good example there, Pat, of when the roof's open, how the ball doesn't quite carry as well to the gaps. Seemingly hit a wall as it got out to the warning track, allowing Jones to track it down. Bautista, big swing to the right field side, slicing in towards Markakis, and he tracks it down, 2 down.
Well, if the ball stays in the ballpark, there's a good chance the speed of the Baltimore Oriole outfielders are going to run it down and make the catch. Markakis is excellent in right field, gets good jumps and good reads out there, takes good routes. Jones is a gold glover in center field, and Patterson's got a lot of speed in left field.
Gonzalez up for the second time in the afternoon. He too had an RBI single, bringing home Vernon Wells. The Blue Jays doing their damage in that first inning, all with 2 outs. Gonzalez has been quite a nice treat for Blue Jays fans. Not exactly sure what to expect when he came aboard. He has played excellent defense, and he has added more than anyone has expected with the bat.
He has had some good years in his career, and he's been around a long time, homer-wise and production-wise. He has had some leg problems when he was with the Cincinnati Reds, knee problems. And you know, Sam, as a hitter, if you don't have your base underneath you to like push and drive and use your lower half, you are not going to be a productive hitter. He's healthy, he's using his legs, and he's aggressive, and he's putting up some pretty good numbers.
2-2 hit into left field. So Gonzalez has himself a pair of hits on the afternoon. And all is well with that knee in the lower half as Gonzalez continues to swing a good bat for the Blue Jays.
Well, it's a short swing with 2 strikes. Almost the same type of at-bat he had with runners on his first time up. Single to left field.
So Lyle Overbay steps in. He singled on the first pitch he saw to drive in Bautista. A quick check from Guthrie over to first base. Gonzalez in easily. Overbay with a pair of home runs yesterday. Cito Gaston really appreciated the aggressiveness of his first baseman, which we have seen over the course of this year has at times fallen by the wayside. Gonzalez with the lead at first. Overbay able to get just a piece.
You asked Cito before today's game about being surprised about the home runs that the Blue Jays have hit. Says he wasn't very surprised.
He knew out of spring training that he would have a club that would be this type of team. On base and average might suffer a little bit, but the production numbers he thought would be up, and that has been the case so far.
I'm sure he's really happy from what he saw yesterday from Lyle Overbay, driving a ball right over the wall at center field and then in right field early in the count too.
Alberto Castillo comes in out of the pen, that lefty-lefty matchup, and first pitch he throws leaves the yard courtesy of Overbay. A 2-home run afternoon for the Jays first baseman yesterday. And he works the count here to 3-1. Good hitters count for Overbay. Keep an eye over at Gonzalez on at first base with 2 down. Gonzalez not going, and Overbay takes a strike. He'll be on the move now. Thinking that was a little low and away. Overbay steps out, gathers himself a couple of practice swings, and should get something to hit here in 3-2. Gonzalez breaks, and the pitch misses. Overbay draws the walk, and again the Blue Jays wreaking havoc with 2 outs in the inning.
Jeremy Guthrie has been around the plate all season long. That is his 3rd walk in as many innings, which ties a season high. His last time out against Oakland, 6 innings, 6 hit. He only gave up 1 earned run, but he did have 3 base on balls. 3 already through the first 3 innings this afternoon.
And you have to wonder if the power the Blue Jays have put on display doesn't play in the back of the mind of Guthrie. The walks given up to Hill, who's homered in this series, Bautista, who leads Major League Baseball, and Overbay, who had 2 yesterday.
I certainly think it does get in the mind of pitchers, thinking that, hey, I have to be perfect, or if I make a mistake, these guys are going to rattle the seats in the outfield. So you drop down a little bit, trying to guide the ball to where you need to, and you fall behind, and the next thing you know, your pitch count is way up there.
55 pitches to this point in the game for Guthrie. Buck in a 2-0 count. Gonzalez on at second. Overbay's on at first, and Buck fouls it off.
Well, if you are a little bit too careful and you try and be too fine, you can miss your spots. And Jeremy Guthrie has given up a whole lot of home runs since 2007. Only James Shields of the Tampa Bay Rays have given up more.
Two outs, 2-1 pitch, and Buck with a mighty rip once again. We heard Dwayne Murphy in the opening of our show, the Blue Jays hitting coach, talk about, you see it, you let it fly.
He loves that aggressive approach for hitters. Now, that doesn't mean you start swinging at everything that comes up there. As soon as the pitcher lifts his legs, you start swinging. See the ball and be aggressive.
Runners on the move, and again Buck fouls it off.
And I think when you have that approach, I think the aggressiveness in the back of your mind makes you swing at strikes. I think you have a better idea of always thinking about letting the bat go. So when you recognize a pitch off the plate, you can just see it a little bit better.
Loved his response to the question about the on-base and average being down. Has no concern for either one of those two stats, and Buck hits this one on the ground to the left side. Picked in the backhand by Astures. He goes the easy way, and the inning is over. So the Blue Jays strand 2, but continue to lead it 3-1. Thanks in no Blue Jays. Roy Halladay getting a pick from Juan Castro, and that was it. 27 up, 27 down. The 20th perfect game in Major League history. Roy Halladay.
Well, we all knew someday he would throw a no-hitter. I don't know about a perfect game, but that was sensational. See, Halladay, you know, that was the 3rd perfect game pitched in the last 310 days. Not counting Jimenez's no-hitter, but the 3rd perfect game. Burley,
Dallas Braden and Burley.
The previous record for shortest time in between 3 perfect games, over 1,100 days to throw 3 perfect games. Baseball did it in 310.
Well, congratulations goes out to Roy Halladay for sure, although he's probably not hearing any of this. He's probably working out somewhere right now.
He's going to have to check his, you're right, his cell phone, because he probably has overload. People calling him and congratulating him.
Yeah, Cito Gaston did that very thing, leaving Halladay a message. The two live in the same area in Florida and oftentimes will either fish or play golf in the off-season. Cito was Halladay's first manager coming to the big leagues back in '98. Came close to the no-hitter.
That's right.
Bobby Higginson in the September game broke that up with a home run. But good on Doc. Back here at the Rogers Center, it's the Blue Jays 3-1 in the top of the 4th inning. Julio Lugo leading things off for Baltimore. And Pat, one of the statistics I was able to look at over last night is the ability for the Blue Jays pitchers to get ahead. In this series, have now done it. First pitch strike 55 times out of 76 at bats. That's about 72%.
A lot higher than the league average of throwing first pitch strikes. Just makes your job so much easier if you can get ahead of the batter.
And it allows you to use your entire repertoire.
Expand the zone a little bit. Use your breaking pitches. We saw that for sure in yesterday's game. Brett Cecil had first pitch strikes all afternoon.
23 out of 28 first pitch strikes for Cecil yesterday. And the trend continuing here today. 6 out of 11 for Romero. First pitch strike on Lugo. The result, a strikeout. Third of the afternoon for Ricky Romero.
He's got good bend to his off-speed pitch. Not all of them are working, but this one certainly is. Breaking ball, and Lugo swings right over the top. He has now struck out 3 out of the last 4 batters he's faced, so maybe he's settling in.
75 strikeouts on the season for Romero. That would put him into a lead depending on what John Lester and James Shields are doing here this afternoon. Markakis steps in and looks at ball 1 from Romero. Coming into the game, Weaver of LA leading the way with 74 strikeouts. Romero and Lester tied at 72, and Shields one behind those two. Both Lester and Shields in action today. Lester's got the Kansas City Royals, while James Shields will pitch in Chicago against the White Sox. But give Romero 75 on the season. 1-1 pitch to Markakis. Pretty good comparisons coming into this series between Markakis and Vernon Wells. Very similar offensive numbers for the two players. The 1-2, and having to just dive out of the way of that one quickly was Markakis.
Yeah, move his feet just a little bit. You talked about the comparison between Nick Markakis and Vernon Wells. The 673 career games between the two of them. They have scored the exact same amount of runs, had the exact same amount of stolen bases, and their batting average is just about the same.
And so Markakis goes down on strikes, and Romero now has struck out 4 of the last 5.
All of them swinging, which is a good sign also. When you've got batters swinging through your off-speed stuff or whatever you offer up there. This time a sharp breaking ball down and away to Markakis. Look at the depth and the movement on that pitch.
And now we move along to the cleanup hitter for David Tremblay, and that's Ty Wigginton. Hit into a double play in the first, making just his 2nd start in the cleanup spot. Well, 1 hit on the ground. Gonzalez picks it and flicks it, and the inning is over. Ricky Romero strikes out a pair. He has 4 in the afternoon. And in high definition quality, packages starting at $99.99. You can check it out at bluejays.com or MLB.tv. And the continue to increase the features on MLB.tv. You can watch several games at a time. You can plug in your fantasy players, and every time they come up, they'll flash, and you can look in live. Encarnacion, first pitch swinging here for the Blue Jays in the fourth. Across the diamond it goes from Tejada. One down just like that.
Jeremy Guthrie seems to settle in just a little bit better now in the fourth inning. Gave up those 3 runs in the first, and he's pitched shutout ball since.
And back to the top of the order. Fred Lewis kicked things off for the Blue Jays. The third time he has led off the game with a hit. He doubled to left and scored on a 2-out Vernon Wells RBI double. His second at bat hit a pretty good ball that Jones chased down and picked up off the turf in the second inning, and here in the fourth. Lewis prepares for the 1-1. It's interesting how things work out. When Fred Lewis was picked up from San Francisco, Alex Anthopoulos said, hey, we want a guy who we think is going to give us a little depth, a little speed, hits from the left side, but more of a depth guy than anything else. As it turns out, he gets into the lineup, and he's now solidified himself as the Blue Jays' leadoff hitter.
At that time, I thought they also needed a backup center fielder. You know, the guy, as that ball is lifted to the infield, called by Asturias, two away. I thought to give Vernon Wells some time off, if they needed to give him a day off here, a day off there, they wanted to have someone to fill in to play center field. Cito was saying it was going to be Jose Bautista. He was going to play some center field, maybe Mike McCoy. But once they got Fred Lewis, it made a lot of sense that if Vernon Wells needs a day off, Fred Lewis would be the guy.
So with 2 down in the inning, Lewis gives way to Aaron Hill. 0 for 1 in the afternoon. Drew a 2-out walk in the second inning, but was stranded.
Guthrie has been tough on right-handers all season long. Coming into this game, an average of 175. He had just given up 1 home run against a right-hander. More amazingly, he had only walked 2 right-handed batters all season long coming into this game. He has 2 in this one alone.
Go back to his last start against Oakland. Right-handers 0 for 8 off of Guthrie in that game, but Blue Jays have turned those tides a little here this afternoon. 2-1 narrowly misses.
Now 1 pitch away from walking Aaron Hill for the second time.
So Hill, a quick adjustment, steps back in for the 3-1. Jones broke back, and now he comes in to make the catch. And a 1-2-3 inning for Jeremy Guthrie. here on the Rogers Center mound this season.
Awfully comfortable here at Rogers Center. 3-1 with an ERA under 2. He's beaten the White Sox, which is a very good hitting team. Oakland A's are in second place, and Texas they're in first place in the West. Those are the three teams he beat. The only loss he's had, probably one of his better pitched games right here. Through 8 innings, gave up just 1 earned run against the Angels and lost that game 3-1. So far today, 4 innings. Note the 45 pitches to get through 4 innings.
Extremely efficient work to this point by Romero, and he has bounced back after giving up that first inning run and has settled in quite nicely. Miguel Tejada looks at strike 1 from Romero. Blue Jays fell behind in this one after Corey Pedersen led it off with a single to right, brought home by Nick Markakis, but the Blue Jays struck 3 times in the bottom of the 3rd, all with 2 outs. And that's where we stand here in the top of the 5th inning.
This series against the Orioles and the one in Baltimore to start the season have been very good for the Blue Jays. You talk about Blue Jays actually being behind. That ball's off the fists to Romero. We'll get back to that in a second.
Major League Baseball on Sportsnet. Tune in this evening for more MLB action on Rogers Sportsnet. It's Texas against Minnesota, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific on all Sportsnet channels. So a little chance to see Justin Morneau and the Twins.
Is he still leading the American League in hitting? He was going into yesterday's game, which I saw that and I was like, wow. No wonder I like that guy so much. 372, I think, going into yesterday's game.
He continues to lead the American League, hitting 371, so the average took a big dip yesterday. But that's quite a dynamic duo between him and Joe Mauer. One down for Luke Scott, and again, Romero finds himself ahead in the count. Lefty versus lefty. 0-2, Romero locked in. Breaking ball, hit to the right side, right at Lyle Overbay. He'll take it himself to retire Scott.
We were just talking about how the Blue Jays fell behind this game 1-0. I went back and looked at how they have played against the Orioles this year. They've played them now in 49 innings, and they are trailing only 8 times all season long to the Orioles. That's how it has been for the Blue Jays against Baltimore. They have played them really tough through the first 5.5 games so far this year.
They've pitched extremely well. We saw it yesterday from Brett Cecil. Got a grinding type start and 6 innings out of Markham on Friday night. And Romero has continued that trend this afternoon. 2 outs for Adam Jones. Jones 0 for 1 on the afternoon. Hasn't put quite the power on display that we've seen from him, especially last season. But you can see it. The talent is clearly evident in this up-and-coming star.
He's got all the tools that you need to be a superstar in this game. He runs well. He throws well. He hits for power. He's an all-star. Fields well. Just 24 years old. He won't be 25 until August the 1st.
2-1. Hit to shortstop. Gonzalez has to make an awkward-looking throw. That will get by Overbay and into the stands. So it'll be a single and an error, as Gonzalez might have thought that Encarnacion was going to cut in front of him and take that ball, and when that did not happen, the footing was off for Gonzalez.
If you can get there as a third baseman, you got to cut that ball off, but I don't think Edwin Encarnacion had a chance, and then Gonzalez gloves it. He'll be charged with his 9th error of the season.
Also a pretty high hop, and
tough play.
Not quite as bad as the old turf, but this turf here does get a little more bouncy when the sun is applied to it. Foul ball The switch hitting catcher Wieters. So Jones here on at second base with 2 down in the inning. The infield well back for the Blue Jays. Wieters, broken bat, slow roller up the middle. Gonzalez over to first, and the inning is over. So Jones is stranded as Romero continues to sail along. Along with Sportsnet.ca columnist Scott Carson, who pegs this part of the schedule for the Blue Jays the most important. 40-game stretch which started Friday night against Baltimore. Lynn first pitch swinging.
Cito thinks the same thing.
Tampa Bay in tomorrow for a 3-game set. Blue Jays will then pay a visit to Tampa.
Well, the Yankees come.
Yankees will be in on the weekend. So there's 9 pretty tough battles there. 1-1 misses away to Lind. And the Blue Jays really don't catch much of a break going to play in the National League. Colorado starting to play well. San Diego, great pitching staff. Lind, line shot. Markakis wipes out. And this one will fall right in front of him. He took a few steps back. The ball died. Markakis lost his footing. And it bounced right in front of him.
It looked like when he went to plant his back foot to stop as he went back, he lost his footing. Watch, he goes back, reads it, and then he loses his footing, and the ball just dives right in front of him. Luckily for Nick Markakis, he is able to slap that ball down and keep it right there. That's extra bases for Adam Lind.
So Adam Lind is aboard for Vernon Wells. Credited right now as a hit for Lind, and it should be.
Yeah.
Wells, line shot to Tejada at third. Diving stop towards the line, and Wells is retired. Hard hit ball by Wells, but nothing to show for it.
That just saved the run right there. That play by Miguel Tejada, the converted shortstop, saved Jeremy Guthrie and the Orioles a run. That ball hit right on the nose by Vernon Wells. That ball down into the corner, and Adam Lind was going to score. Look how that ball was hooking into the corner.
Although he was playing well back, that ball gets on you in a hurry at third base. So Tejada having to make that adjustment, thanks in large part to Juan Samuel. They were out working every day early in spring training. Just trying to get reads off the bat. And it's worked out pretty well. Bautista, right center field. Markakis gives chase and tracks it down.
You were talking about the rough road that the Blue Jays have after they leave the Rogers Center. Here it is right here. Look at the records for the Rays and the Yankees, and they go down to Tampa. Colorado is playing some good baseball with that pitching staff. Jimenez is on that staff, and Chacin. Jim Tracy has them ready to make a move, and San Diego's in first place in the National League West. Tough road coming up for the Jays.
And the interleague schedule hasn't been friendly to the Blue Jays over the years. So with 2 down, it's Alex Gonzalez. Adam Lynn remains on at first base. Guthrie delivers. And it's fouled back out of play for Gonzalez. Hits to left field in each of his first 2 at-bats. He's got an RBI in this game, bringing Vernon Wells across with 2 down in that first inning. Wigginton holds Lind on at first. And Guthrie misses away. The Blue Jays have really picked up the pace of play here at the Rogers Center, having won 9 of the last 11 contests here. And a 10-day, 9-game homestand. This is the 3rd of those 9 games. Guthrie working quickly, 2-2. Gonzalez puts a good swing on it to center field, but Jones is there. And the inning is over. The Blue Jays continue to lead it 3-1.
For the Orioles, and now the pitchers have taken over, and it's been a duel. Guthrie and Romero throwing up the zeros now. Ricky Romero's given up just 3 hits and 1 walk. He has struck out 4. That came 2 in the 3rd and 2 in the 4th. So both of them have found their stuff now.
And kicking things off for the Orioles here in the top of the 6th inning is Cesar Asturis. Walked back in the 3rd inning, but then was picked off by Romero. And so Asturis looking to extend his hit streak to a modest 4 games here. Hit to the right side, right along the ground, Aaron Hill. Buck Martinez is back for the Tampa Bay Rays and the Toronto Blue Jays. You can see it here on Rogers Sportsnet beginning at 7 Eastern Time, 4 Pacific. It's the division-leading Rays and the Toronto Blue Jays. Matt Garza gets the ball for Tampa. Brandon Morrow gets the ball for Toronto. Morrow also finding himself amongst the league leaders in strikeouts. But he will have a tough task on hand tomorrow evening against Tampa Bay.
Garza's really been tough against the Blue Jays in his short career. We missed James Shields. He is going to be pitching today for Tampa. And we miss Wade Davis, and we get David Price.
Jeff Neiman.
And Neiman. Cito Gaston was talking about the Tampa Bay Rays before today's game, saying that he thinks that they're the only team in the American League that has 5 legitimate starters who can go out there and win every single night.
He may have discounted his own staff a little bit there.
Yeah.
Brian Tallett will be called up to make the start on June 1st. The start that had been long left open by the Blue Jays, but after some lengthy consideration with Alex Anthopoulos and Bruce Walton, they've decided to go with Tallett as Patterson will make the right turn.
Just a good fastball from Ricky Romero. He places it down and away to the left-handed hitting Corey Patterson. Not much you can do with that one. 5 strikeouts now this afternoon. That was the first one looking by the Orioles.
As you look at Romero, and with Tallett being called up from AAA Las Vegas after just 1 start, and a shaky one at that, the Blue Jays will have to make a move. That has yet to be announced.
That's right. They were thinking maybe after tomorrow's game or sometime tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that would be the case, and you'd have to think it would be a pitcher. Through the left side, base hit for Julio Lugo.
Every time I see Julio Lugo versus the Toronto Blue Jays, he looks like Superman hitting. He looks comfortable. He has good swings, and you look up and he's hitting .230 against the rest of the league. I mean, he really looks comfortable swinging the bat.
Was 1 for 4 in yesterday's game and sacrificed himself in the first, struck out in the 4th, and has himself his first base hit of the afternoon. Nick Markakis trying to atone for a little slippage in right field. Romero retired the first 2 batters of the inning before allowing that hit to Lugo. And the most dangerous of Orioles hitters at the plate. Blue Jays fell behind early in this one, as Baltimore got on the board immediately. But since then, Toronto has responded with 3, all with 2 outs in the bottom of the first inning. And that's where we find ourselves here with 2 down on the top of the 6th.
Markakis was the guy to drive in the run also. Singled in the first inning. And he has been swinging a hot bat over his last 10 games coming into this one. The average right at 370 to bump it over on the season over 300.
3-0. Markakis watches it go by for a strike. Little conversation over at first base between Lugo and first base coach John Shelby. Now they retreat to their respective positions with Overbay holding him on. 2-hopper to Aaron Hill. And the inning is over. So Ricky Romero does it yet once again. Leaves a runner on at first. Brandon Lee. A walk-off grand slam home run. Great news, right? Hang on. On the celebration, he comes down awkwardly, and it took a little while for his teammates to realize, but on that play, left leg, ouch, he breaks it. Will require surgery, possibly season-ending surgery.
Wow. What is Mike Scioscia thinking right now?
Oh, man.
You know, what else can go wrong with that ball club? They lost so many players through free agency and now that type of injury. They're 3 games under 500 and just 3.5 games out of first. I think they go out and try and get a veteran first baseman. And the first guy who comes to mind, Lance Berkman from Houston. Houston's not going to win anything. Maybe you go out at Berkman.
What about a Lyle Overbay?
Makes sense. I mean, they're only 3.5 games out of first place.
But do the Blue Jays want to move a guy like Overbay? I mean, he is in his free agent year, starting to hit a little now. He's up right now, and the hitting continues. Lyle Overbay, line shot, out of here.
Just a matter of time before the Blue Jays hit one out of the ballpark.
Cito Gaston gave Overbay the 3-0, so the manager starting to show confidence in what is now his 7th place hitter.
Well, he knows when a guy gets into a groove, and he hit 2 home runs yesterday. Why not? Against a pitcher who gives up a lot of fly ball outs, give him the green light. This one right down Broadway in like a shot to right field and gone.
Saw Overbay before the game yesterday, asked him how he was doing, and it was kind of a ho-hum type of answer. Well, I saw him today and asked him how he was doing. He said, well, that's a little more like it. And I'm sure that same answer will be the case tomorrow. 3rd home run in 2 days for Lyle Overbay. And so the lead is increased to 4-1 for John Buck. Check swing strike. Blue Jays will play a 3-game set and then have Thursday off. And then the curveball, the Jays Foundation Gala, goes Thursday evening. They will return to action Friday against the New York Yankees. John Buck to center field. Adam Jones drifts into the shadows and makes the catch.
Well, home runs have meant a lot to the Jays this year. Now 51, and every time they hit home runs today and tomorrow, they will add to a franchise record for most home runs in a month. Cincinnati Reds right up there, as is the Boston Red Sox with 45 and 40.
The Major League record for home runs in a month is 58, accomplished by Baltimore in '87 and then Seattle in 1999. And so Blue Jays a far cry from that, but hey, the way they have hit them in bunches, you never know. There's still a little game left to be played here, and the 31st of May tomorrow. But a tough opponent in Garza. But still a very impressive power display by the Toronto Blue Jays here in the month of May.
You know, and it's not just one guy here or 2 guys there. It seems like everybody from Fred Lewis all the way down to Encarnacion, they can hit the ball out of the ballpark. And that has got to weigh on pitchers when they know if they make one mistake, and the Jays have not missed their pitches this month. You make one mistake, it's going to land out of here, and there are going to be runs put up on the board.
Conversely, I think it bodes well for Blue Jays pitchers, and we saw it yesterday with Brett Cecil, knowing that at any time, if they're trailing, they could get back into the game, as Encarnacion with quite a rip. And we saw Cecil come out of the game. Cito Gaston went to shake his hand in the 8th inning. Was somewhat upset with himself after giving up a pair of runs in the 6th. And just like that, it turned around.
Yeah.
A couple of home runs. Aaron Hill, Vernon Wells, Blue Jays lead. Cecil wins his 3rd straight. And so Encarnacion goes down looking at strikes.
right at the lowest part of the strike zone. Guthrie paints it. Just his second strikeout of the afternoon. Both of them looking. This one right at the bottom of the strike zone.
2 down and back to the top of the order for Fred Lewis. One for 3 on the afternoon. He doubled and scored in the first inning, did Fred. And another line shot, just like we saw it before. And you can't hit it much harder than Lewis has hit it, and he'll stare Jones down. But the Blue Jays add to the lead. It is now 4-1 courtesy. T-shirts, all on Tweeting Tuesdays. Send your questions to twitter.com/BlueJays for your chance to win some great prizes and interact with us here in the booth. Ty Wigginton leading things off for David Tremblay here in the top of the 7th inning. The Blue Jays lead it 4-1, courtesy of a 6th inning home run from Lyle Overbay. On the ground, Gonzalez tracks it and can't come up with it. So he's able to make the catch, but knowing he had to get it over there in a hurry, just couldn't make the transfer cleanly.
Yeah. He was playing deep enough to cut that ball off from Wigginton. And he knows who's running. Elects to catch and throw all in one motion, but the ball comes out and it'll go as an infield single for Wigginton.
Just the second time this game where the Orioles have got the leadoff hitter aboard. Patterson did the same thing in the first inning and he scored. Tejada steps in and looks at strike one from Ricky Romero. Romero continues to work efficiently. Here we are in the 7th. He has thrown 74 pitches to this point. Chopped foul. 5 strikeouts in the game. 1 walk. He's induced contact. And a tidy effort, especially after the first inning, to this point for Romero.
Well, he got a double play in the first inning to get out of that trouble. He also walked Asturis in the 3rd and then picked him off. And that helped him out. An infield single and an error. And now another infield single can only damage.
Broke the bat of Tejada. The bat had stayed fair. The ball didn't. the remnants will be picked up by the bat boy, courtesy of Juan Samuel, the Orioles' third base coach, and Tejada goes back to the woodshed for a new piece of lumber. Romero ready to work. He's got Tejada behind 0-2. Ty Wigginton on at first base. Blue Jays lead it 4-1 here in the 7th inning. Romero checks the runner. No big lead by Wigginton. And a wasted pitch up and away.
Yeah, no place to go when you are down by 3 runs. You've got a couple of batters coming up now who can hit the ball out of the ballpark. You don't want to get picked off. Ricky Romero already has one of those this afternoon.
The 1-2 swung on and missed, and Tejada is called out. One down. Commentator clothing provided in part by Z Zenya. Statistical information provided by Stats Inc. And the background music you hear provided by Universal Canada. One down for Luke Scott. 0 for 2 on the afternoon is Scott. Grounded out to short back in the 2nd inning. And then an unassisted put out by Lyle Overbay in the 5th. The Blue Jays looking for the sweep against Baltimore and to remain perfect in what would be 6 games if they can hang on to this 3-run lead. And another home win would be in the offing as well.
Gather some momentum before the Rays come into town. It's always something to think about also when you're talking about teams.
Romero doing a great job keeping the ball on the ground. And he does it again. A funny hop. Encarnacion to Hill, who has to stretch. And an aggressive slide by Wigginton ensures that Hill will not turn the double play. But nonetheless, a very good play on both ends.
Yeah, Encarnacion, first of all. The turf here gets very spongy when it gets warm. And this ball was cued off the end of the bat by Luke Scott and took a wicked hop. But he stays right with it and throws a strike to Aaron Hill. Covers the bag, and Hill's just trying to get out of the way, but that aggressive slide by Wigginton takes him out, assuring that they're not going to turn 2. Good play from Encarnacion and Hill.
Really tricky hop. And Encarnacion had the presence of mind to get it over to Hill in a hurry. So with 2 down, it's up to Adam Jones. Romero misses low with ball 1. Romero really the epitome of what I think is a shift in the organizational thinking of the Toronto Blue Jays. Fastball changeup. Win over the last couple of years. As Jones swings through the 1-0 pitch. It's been more fastball cutter. And now the organization has really seemingly changed its philosophy and wants its pitchers to work the changeup. And why not? It's been successful. Hey, it's really worked well for Brett Cecil.
Look at all the players who have pitched for the Blue Jays this year. Sean Markham has a good changeup. Brett Cecil has a great changeup. Romero's is outstanding.
Bit of a work in progress for Brandon Morrow. We've seen Brian Talbot go to the changeup and use the cutter. We'll get to see him on Tuesday. One-two to Jones. Swing and a miss.
Foul tip.
Tipped off.
Yeah, foul tip, and John Buck just could not smother that ball. Just got a piece of it, and Buck tried to smother it before it hit the ground. The fans are going crazy because they want some pizza. Right away. No. The home plate umpire signaled that that ball was foul. The fans coming out for the 7th inning stretch. Let's do it all over again. Hold on just a second.
We'll close the gate back up in left field. And Jones will get another crack at it. The most excitement we've heard from this crowd this afternoon. This time, Buck hangs on. Ricky Romero, 7th strikeout of the afternoon. The Blue Jays come to bat in the bottom of the 7th, leading it 4-1, thanks to Ricky Romero.
That you don't see too much from him. Neither one of them came around to score late in the game, so he will give way now to Mark Hendrickson. The big, tall left-hander comes out of the bullpen for Dave Tremblay.
First pitch swinging for Aaron Hill, just foul. Hendrickson in his last outing allowed 3 earned runs on 3 hits in just 1/3 of an inning. 2 of the inherited runners scored that he came in to face in a loss to Oakland. So he's allowed 8 of 10 inherited runners to score, and David Tremblay puts him in a situation where that cannot happen here as he starts the inning clean. 2-hopper to Asturis at short. Slick fielding shortstop. Good throw to first.
Well, he's a valuable guy who can come out of the bullpen because he's a true long man. Throw strikes. It's not one of those max effort type of pitchers where you get everything into it. He can throw on consecutive days. He can give you 3, 4, 5 innings if need be. He could also be a swing man and come out of that bullpen and start a game just in case. So a valuable guy for the Orioles to have in that bullpen.
Hendrickson throughout his career has been bounced back and forth between starting and the bullpen. Little NBA career mixed in there as well.
Yeah, so you know he's a good athlete.
Hendrickson's last win against Seattle on the 13th of May. Consecutive fouls out to the left side has Hendrickson ahead of Adam Lind 0-2. Vernon Wells waits on deck. The Blue Jays lead it 4-1 here in the 7th inning. For Lind, 1 for 3 on the afternoon. And his last time up in the 5th inning, lifted a fly ball to right field. Nick Markakis lost his footing. It dropped in just in front of him. Markakis did well enough just to keep that ball in front of him and hold Lind to a single. From that point, he was stranded as the Blue Jays made consecutive outs. And a good battle going on here between Lind and Mark Hendrickson.
Hendrickson's been tough on Adam Lind. He has faced him 10 times, and Adam has only been able to scratch out 1 hit against him. You can see why. Good breaking ball against a left-handed hitter from the left-handed pitcher. He picks up the strikeout.
2 up, 2 down for Mark Hendrickson. Stay tuned after the game for Connected with Jamie Campbell. A busy Sunday in Major League Baseball, as well as more Stanley Cup Finals coverage. Get connected after the game. Two down for Vernon Wells. Wells 1 for 3 on the afternoon, and first pitch swinging for Wells, pops it up to the right side. Wigington can't find it, but Lugo comes over to pick him up. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for the big lefty and former Blue Jay. And Pat Denardis, music courtesy of Universal. As we look at Ricky Romero's line, through 7 innings, he's allowed 5 hits, just the 1 earned run back in the first inning. He has thrown a tidy 86 pitches with 7 strikeouts on the afternoon.
His season high was 116 pitches. That was that 9-inning outing he had against Texas.
First pitch swinging. Romero hops off the mound, spins, and Wieters is retired. An interesting point about that 116 pitches, when we talked to Cito Gaston this morning about the decision to bring Brian Tallett into the rotation Tuesday. They had considered going with a 4-man rotation, but were worried about Markham, first year back after surgery. Romero not wanting to put too much stress on his arm, not wanting to raise the innings for Brett Cecil. And another young arm in Brandon Morrow, who's really his first full year of starting. And so Cito Gaston said, no, we're going to lay back here. We want these guys to pitch throughout the entire course of the season as opposed to having to pull them up early.
Says they're very wary of pitch counts against some of the youngsters that they have on this pitching staff, and they don't want to burn them out. There are the upcoming probables in the Tampa Bay Rays series coming up. Garza, Morrow, there'll be a lot of heat on the mound tomorrow.
Back up the middle, Gonzalez across the bag at second, and a good throw to get his Sturts.
Tallett and Neiman on Tuesday, and then David Price. That was against Markham, wasn't it? On Wednesday. That should be fun.
Quite a matchup. A couple of staff aces going toe-to-toe. Well, I guess you could say the Rays have a couple of staff aces with Shields, Garza, Price. Good-looking young staff, and the Blue Jays hope to model their rotation around what has been done in Tampa. 2 down for Corey Patterson. 90 pitches now for Ricky Romero. Paints the inside corner for a strike.
Patterson a little bit more disciplined at the plate. Before this season, he walked just once every 22 at-bats as he singles into right field. This year, he has cut that more than half, walking in once every 9 plate appearances. Second hit of the afternoon for Corey Patterson. Singled his first time up, was balked to second, and has scored the only run for the Orioles this afternoon.
So Julio Lugo steps in. A 1-for-2 afternoon for Lugo. 1-for-4 yesterday. He also had a sacrifice bunt. After the balk, he was able to move Patterson over to third base, and he eventually scored on the Markakis single. First pitch swinging, popped up left side. Gonzalez out, Fred Lewis in, and it's Lewis who makes the catch. 93 pitches for Ricky Romero. Will he have a chance to complete it? Stay tuned.
Inning. 4 batters into the bottom of the inning. Vernon Wells is going to tie it right back up, make this all even. He doubles home Fred Lewis with the Blue Jays' first run. They will go on to plate 2 more, take a 3-1 lead, and that sits now at 4-1 after the Overbay home run.
Well, there's Vernon Wells, a little refreshment on the bench. Jeremy Reed, left side of your screen. Edwin Encarnacion on the right. The new pitcher for the Baltimore Orioles is left-hander Will Oman. And a whole lot of zeros for Oman. First pitch swinging. Jose Bautista, left center field. Back and gone. Home run, Jose Bautista. And the scoreless inning streak is over immediately for Oman. 22nd first pitch home run of the year. What a shot it was from Jose Bautista.
Oman comes in, and his first pitch, here's a fastball, Jose Bautista. You've hit 25 home runs since last September 1st, and he just golfs this ball out of the ballpark. That ties his career high in home runs in a season, and we're not even to June. 16 home runs now for Bautista.
Bautista getting his swing on here in the bottom of the 8th. 5-1 Blue Jays.
You mentioned the scoreless streak from Ullman, and it's pretty impressive.
We didn't have much time to mention it.
No, you were just going to talk about it. 25 appearances, 15 2/3 scoreless innings out of the bullpen, which leads the American League. Well, no more.
Inside to Gonzalez. 52 home runs for the Blue Jays in the month of May. The power continues to impress. People are talking about it. I talked to a scout from Philadelphia, another one from Boston, and the first thing they mentioned, boy, this team's really swinging the bat.
And they knew coming out of spring training that they had the ability to hit home runs.
Now Gonzalez wants to do the same thing. Patterson back. Gonzalez gone. 53 May home runs back to back. Bautista and Gonzalez.
Coming into this game, he had not given up a home run all season long. Ullman, who's going out close for the Baltimore Orioles. 6 pitches into it, he's given up 2. Watch Gonzalez go down and get this one. Right down into that happy zone. And he cranks it to left field. Home run number 11 on the season. Back-to-back home runs for the Blue Jays.
Jose Molina pretty happy with his good buddy Gonzalez going deep, and the Blue Jays now comfortably ahead 6-1. Overbay pops it up left side as Sturis moves Tejada out of the way. 1 down. Well, there they are, the back-to-backers, Bautista and Gonzalez.
6th time this year that the Blue Jays have gone back-to-back.
The last time it happened, Edwin Encarnacion and Adam Lind in Arizona on the 21st of May.
Bautista and Gonzalez were the guys who got it done in Baltimore. Remember the last time we were there? I believe that was a game that we did in the 8th inning.
Back in the book and check that one out.
Kevin Millwood game.
Indeed it was. Bautista was hitting leadoff that day, and in the 8th inning, a 2-run shot with John McDonald aboard, and Gonzalez followed that up when he was hitting in the 2-hole to at that time extend his hit streak to 6 games. So back-to-backers again, just a different spot in the order, and down on strikes goes John Buck. Comfortably ahead here at 6-1. I think you'll see a couple of mighty hacks from this guy.
Well, he hasn't gotten cheated all series, but he's been patient.
A couple of walks in yesterday's game. 0 for 3 this afternoon. So just when you think the power had taken a little nap for the Blue Jays, they get a home run from Overbay in the 6th, and back-to-back home runs here in the 8th from Bautista and Gonzalez. In the dirt from Ullman. And Ricky Romero still sitting on the bench. Not a whole lot going on down in that Blue Jays bullpen. Romero still under that 100 pitch count. Readers will throw the mask off, but this one will end up right behind the Baltimore dugout on the first base side.
How rare is it that Will Ullman gives up a home run? You have to go all the way back to last May 13th. The last time that this left-hander has given up a home run. That was to Raul Ibanez of the Philadelphia Phillies.
The old lefty-lefty matchup got him there. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. And Encarnacion lifts it up to the left side. Corey Patterson continues to run in and makes the catch. But not before the Blue Jays add to their lead. Back-to-back home runs, courtesy of the Majors' leading home run hitter, Jose Bautista. And right (2010) MLB All-Star Game goes from Anaheim. Vote for your favorite Blue Jays players: Vernon Wells, Aaron Hill, Adam Lind. Cast your vote at BlueJays.com. You're allowed to vote a maximum of 25 times per email address. So vote early, vote often, and get your Blue Jays onto the All-Star team. Big push for Adam Lind last year. Vote for Lind. Might be a couple of different candidates this year. Jose Bautista comes to mind first off. Markakis, right side. Overbay picks it, and he will lead Romero to the bag at first. One down.
Ricky Romero has been in control. First inning, he gave up a run. If he didn't balk, he'd be throwing a shutout. He balked a runner, a sacrifice fly, scored the run. And it's been all zero since. Looking for his second complete game of the season.
So much trust does Cito Gaston have in Ricky Romero, and surely the back-to-back home runs in the bottom of the eighth give him a little more license to get Romero out there to try and complete this thing. Wigginton looks at a ball. Wigginton is 1 for 3 on the afternoon. Hit into a double play back in the first. Grounded out to short in the fourth. And an infield single in the seventh inning.
Cito Gaston has shown a lot of confidence in Ricky Romero. A couple of times come to mind where Cito went out to the mound to talk to Romero with people warming up, and Ricky thought he was coming to get him. But he stayed with him, and I think that is starting to pay off for him, showing him that his manager has faith in him. Just go out there and do your thing. He hasn't had the good curveball that we have seen from him in the past, but he has gone out here and he's hit his spots with his fastball, and he has used a good changeup to get these hitters out.
And what's impressive is Romero is seemingly able to identify early on what's working for him and what's not, and he works in concert with the catcher. They go with what's working until it stops working. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. The 100th pitch for Ricky Romero results in a walk to tie Wigginton, but he has kept the ball on the ground all afternoon long. And with Miguel Tejada up, Wigginton on at first. Romero is trying to get through this inning and pick up his second complete game. Tejada on the ground. He gets what he's looking for. Gonzalez, Hill pulled off the bag, threw over in time. And this thing ends on a double play.
Ricky Romero looking for someone to shake hands to, standing out on the mound. What a performance from the left-hander this afternoon. He gives up a run in the first inning and then just 6 base runners the rest of the way. 4 hits and 2 walks, and the double play ends it.
The Blue Jays win it 6-1. We are back to wrap it up in short error. Romero with the win.